So, following on from what I've been talking about in the previous video, I wanted to tell this story because I find it very interesting and it's very on topic with most of the things I'll be wanting to talk about, science versus supernatural. But, you know, there's obviously been things in my life that are unexplainable that I can't readily explain with science. Or maybe I can. Maybe it's just a simple case of psychology and the subconscious, and subconscious telling you things and showing you things that you otherwise wouldn't notice. I don't know whether that makes sense. But yeah, of the many awkward and uncomfortable supernatural, sciencey supernatural, psychological occurrences that happened in my old house. This is the one that I find, aside from being most interesting, probably also quite lovely and comforting, you know, because, you know, you go around a lot on the internet and on YouTube especially, you get the paranormal story times, and sometimes, majority of the time, they're not pleasant, but this was just one experience that, you know, was pleasant, honestly. It was just nice, you know. So anyway, I bought my house, and I've always, there's always this thing I experience when I move into a new house. I will dream, while my dreams are already quite, you know, spectacular in intensity to begin with. The dreams that, you know, if you could heighten that more, that's what happens when I move into a new house. I don't know what that, it's probably a psychological thing, just me adjusting to the new environment or something. Anyway, so I bought this new house and moved in, and there were the ruins of the back from the house that burnt down in the 50s. I'd already been able to have a look through it. Fascinating, the old well, the bed springs, the oven door, the bits of crockery and stuff like that. Oh man, it was just crawling with redbacks as well. That's probably why no one ever cleared it out. I mean, to begin with, the bit of my garden, which, you know, the woman who I bought the house off, being a little mad, had gone nuts with just planting things. So while the area used to be just flat lawn, which is honestly a more desirable setup for a garden in my opinion, to an extent, you know, have a nice tree here and there, a nice shrub, but just don't go to town on the planting little fiddly bits and pieces, because that shit never goes away. You can pull out bulbs, you can pull things out, and they will reappear. They will reappear. And it's hard work. Like, fuck, that shit is hard work. Anyway, digressing. So, to begin with, my garden, the part of the garden that was close to my house, was already filled with funnel web holes and just funnel webs. So to get to the back, you had to traverse these landmines of funnel webs. Looking back, I did that without even thinking, and that's very strange, because now, like, moving to a country that has no poisonous wildlife that I know of, I think it makes you forget, like, the danger you used to be in every day. Like, even in your home, the whitetails that would come in, and the funnel webs coming into the house. Then later on you find out that house spiders can also be poisonous, and the size of the house spiders that you used to have, just snakes and spiders. Anyway, so digressing again. So yeah, it was overrun with redbacks up the back, and now that I think about it, that may have been why no one ever bothered to clear it out. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, so I moved into this house, and straight away I started having dreams, and in this particular dream that I had a couple of times, I think, I don't know, whatever, it was, even if I had it once, I'll never forget. So anyway, in the dream there was a woman, and she was all dressed in black, and she was more of a peripheral character, whether she was good, whether she was bad, not quite sure. But also, there was a little boy in the dream, and he was maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6, dressed in like dark trousers, maybe a grey sort of sweater, jumper, and he was blonde, and that's all I remember. Maybe he was wearing like a blue shirt underneath that, I'm not sure. Anyway, there was a story in the dream that I can't really remember, but something in me just was really convinced that that boy used to live in the house that was up the back. And I have absolutely no idea to this day the history of the house. Like, no idea. I never really looked into it, and honestly, I think if I did, no one would be able to tell me anything. But anyway, so after that happened, there were a few things that I noticed. Okay, bearing this in mind, through my life, despite the fact that I like to believe more in the scientific side of things, I've always felt like that from place to place where I go, I have collected, it's going to sound really, really weird, I've collected a small group of very protective spirits. And maybe that's just something I like to go to when I'm feeling uncomfortable or uneasy in a certain place or situation. I will remind myself that these spirits are here and they're looking out for me. Yeah, maybe that's just what it is. Anyway, so I noticed after I had this dream, I always felt like there was this very lovely, very light-hearted energy that was in the house. But it also felt like that energy was holding another energy at bay. And the other energy was quite dark. Very dark. You know, having said this, I never felt unsafe in my house, but that may have been because of this lighter energy always holding back the darker energy. No small job. No small job. But I also started noticing other things, and this is something I cannot explain to this day. No matter how much I try and rationalize it, this one particular thing that happened. So I had a television. It was quite a large television, actually. It was one of the times in my life when I had a very big TV. One day, bearing in mind, I never had a small child in my house. Anyway, one day, I was walking through the house and I noticed on the reflection of the screen there was a little handprint. So I put my hand up to it and I noticed it was like half the size of my hand. Just one little handprint on the TV screen. And it made me feel weird. It was just like, the fuck did that come from? Like, that's just so weird. And I didn't rub it off either, like I just felt rubbing it off would be weird also. But yeah, that happened. So, the handprint, the feelings, still feeling like I was being protected from something. Anyway, so the front of my house, there was the front balcony, which when I moved in was just covered in this beautiful wisteria. I love wisteria. But the balcony was covered in wisteria, which, as you know, or if you know, wisteria can be very invasive and it can get overgrown and it can grow into nooks and crannies and pull apart bits of your house. And at one point, a certain person fucking destroyed that, which was really sad. But anyway, digressing again. Under the balcony, there was this sort of space that you could walk under. Obviously so awesome when my phone stops recording in the middle of a sentence. Anyway, so under the house there was this bit where you could go through a door under the house, you know. But beneath the balcony, it was all covered in gravel, whatever, blah blah blah. So anyway, there were times when it rained heavily, and I noticed one time after it rained heavily, I went under the balcony and I found this little blue marble. And I was like, oh cool. And I searched around. I thought maybe there's more marbles under here, like, because I don't know, I just love marbles. I don't know why. I just do, especially green ones, clear green ones. But I found this beautiful little blue marble. I searched around and there were no more marbles, and I thought maybe the rain just unearthed it or something. Anyway, so I took it up, put it in a little sort of glass jar on a kitchen shelf, and left it there. Then throughout the years while I was living there, I would go, like just randomly, I would go down to that area under the balcony, and there would be another one. And I'd search around looking for more. There'd never be more than that one. But exactly the same marble, a little blue, shiny marble. I think in total I found about 5 or 6, there's 5 or 6 of them. Always exactly the same marble, a little blue marble. I don't know if I'm just reading stuff into this, but I never found anything else like that under there. Always just these little blue marbles. Yeah, so I don't really know where I was going with this story. I think it was odd, and I think it was interesting, and it always felt like they were a gift. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But I didn't bring them with me. I left them there. And when I sold the house, I went up the back and I took the marbles and I just threw them up the back and said thank you and left. Because I felt like I shouldn't take them with me, you know? But yeah, that was just, to me, sort of an odd experience, having these marbles there. I actually think I have a picture of maybe all of them or one of them. I will insert a clip if I can find the picture on Instagram. That was the thing that happened. Yeah, as for this energy, the different energies in my house, there are some other things I will talk about. Whether these things were influenced by certain films, I don't know. If anyone has any thoughts on this thing that happened with the marbles and the little boy and the handprint and even the energies that I'm talking about, feel free to weigh in with an opinion or advice, or even just your own story. I don't know. Whatever you think. Okay. Probably going to stop filming for the day, go do something else. Again, if you have watched this video, thanks. Yeah. Goodbye. Just quickly before I forget, because it's probably worth mentioning, while bringing the marbles up into the house felt good and felt like the right thing to do, I may also should not have done that, because I feel like that also, not unleashed, but yeah, maybe unleashed, I don't know another word for it, something that was under the house, which is something I will get to in another video, because not entirely sure under the house was good. And whether that has anything to do with a reoccurring dream that I have on, you know, basements and under houses and stuff, I'm not entirely sure, but this one definitely felt different, this particular dream I had about something that was under my house, and it was terrifying. So yeah, the other thing, the marbles may have been down there, it's just, I don't know, that's getting into something else. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But yeah, or maybe bringing the marbles up was, you know, have them closer to, I don't know, now I'm just rambling. Okay, gonna stop now.